Well, both basketball teams are back from the Pacific Northwest. The men's team had a very successful journey out there, beating Washington last Wednesday, 69-58, and then Oregon on Saturday by a 65-58 score. The women's team lost at Oregon on Wednesday night, 69-53, and then fell to Washington on Saturday, 87-58. Both teams home this week. The Boilermaker men will be at home tomorrow night against Ohio State. That'll be a 7:30 tip-off. And then the women will be hosting number 4 USC and Juju Watkins on Wednesday night. That one will tip off at 7 o'clock. Good evening, everybody. From walk-ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, it is Purdue Basketball Live. We're going to talk Boilermaker basketball over the next hour. The first half hour, we'll have Sasha Stefanovich, who's a member of the coaching staff and the director of player personnel for the Boilermaker men's team. And then in the second half of the show, we'll have head coach Katie Geralds. You can watch us on Purdue Athletics Facebook, X, and YouTube sites. If you're on Facebook, let us know where you're watching, and we'll pass those along as we go along. So we'll have Sasha with us next. Sasha Stefanovich joins us on the show after this. We're at walk-ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, and this is Purdue Basketball Live from Learfield.
But they run it so fast. Like, they're not a fast team getting up and down the court, guy, but in the half court, they are really efficient in how fast they play.
Trey Kaufman ran with the basket. Can't hit the three.
But that's the thing. It hasn't been one guy for Washington. They've been spread around. Mason's got 7. Osabor's got 8.
Quick passing. And first with the dunk.
Quick timeout from Sprinkle. This is just the ball movement that we know Purdue values. Wren probably could have tried to get that one up there. No one would have said anything, but
the first half of the first half, Don, you kept pointing out how clear his pass to the basket was. First, swatting it out of bounds. Well, they figured the last time we were here, we watched an incredible game against Illinois. Breidenbach couldn't handle that. Smith down to the ground to get it. Here comes Warrior. Last Washington home game looked like they're going to get blown off the floor by Illinois. Smith! Smith.
Nice.
How did he see Kaufman ran?
I thought he was going to hammer pass it to the corner and dropped it off to Wren.
What's above him?
Anyways, this guy can really pass. Purdue has come out of the locker room with a renewed focus. Smith to Kaufman, Wren. Good find by Mason.
Wow, that just looks so easy.
He gets the switch, bigger guy on him, then it just becomes
pointer of the game. Braden Smith, as advertised, he's got 11, and Purdue has the lead. Well, it's been tougher. And Warrior breaks in. And Washington needs a timeout. In the last 5 minutes.
Welcome back to Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO. We're live at walk-ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where there's validated parking and kids eat for free on Tuesdays. And joining us in the first half hour, Sasha Stefanovich, a Boilermaker standout from 2019 to 2022. The first time I met you, you were on an unofficial visit. You were interested in the business school, now the Daniel School. I must not have screwed that up because I helped you get in the right direction. You got a couple of degrees while you were here at Purdue, so congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a great experience, and luckily I was able to walk away with 2 degrees. So,
well, let's talk about you. First of all, your decision to come to Purdue, and second, then to go into the business world. We get a finance degree and then a master's degree in human resource management. Why? Let's start with the basketball choice.
Yeah, for myself, I thought. Not only was Purdue like my dream school growing up, I really wanted to be here. I really thought this would be the best place for me to continue my basketball career and my journey and everything like that. But I also thought from my skill set, I thought it really fit with what I do, with the way I shoot threes. There's players before me that were really strived in the system that Coach Payne has offensively, and I thought that I could find myself fitting in with some really good players. And luckily, I got decent enough to get recruited by Coach Paint, and it worked out.
You were more than decent enough. You're a pretty good basketball player. And I like the fact when we talked before, I said I couldn't remember if it was your official or your unofficial, and you said, well, I never took an official. You're a no-frills guy. You knew where you wanted to go. Why go through all the rigmarole?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, Coach Paint offered me super late in my senior year. I decided to wait in a lot of my recruitment. I wanted to commit in the fall of my senior year, and Coach Paint kind of threw a wrench in my plans because he wanted me, but they didn't have a scholarship at the time. So I decided to kind of like bet on myself and see if I could get this offer from Purdue. And it ended up working out where I got the offer in February. I think it was February 3rd. I took it the February 4th. Didn't really need an official or anything like that. I took unofficial in the summer, so it worked out.
Your dad, Lou, was an outstanding basketball player at Illinois State. He's a member of the Illinois State Athletics Hall of Fame. How much of an influence did he have on you growing up in terms of basketball?
Huge. It was really cool to see him, and he loved to throw on the old cassette tapes of him at Illinois State and playing in the NCAA tournament. My dad hit a game winner in the NCAA tournament. He played really well. I think they got to the NCAA tournament 3 straight years while he was there. So. It was really cool for me to see like the success that he had. I think he played 6 years pro overseas. He got drafted in 1985 by the Seattle Supersonics. He's the first Yugoslavian-born player to be drafted in the NBA. So really cool to just hear those things about my dad and see how people respected him and how fans love him whenever we went to Illinois State. It's funny. He just went back actually this last weekend and played Missouri State, and he went to the Hall of Fame alumni weekend this week. So it's always cool to see people like love him in Normal, Illinois, and give him the love. When I was little, I remember we went to a game, and the entire stadium was chanting Lou like that, and I thought they were booing him, and I got like super upset. I'm like, I was like telling my mom, I'm like, why are they booing him? She's like, no, they're saying Lou. So it's really cool to see that, and his just influence on me and my brother's basketball career and just journey overall has been super influential.
You mentioned he had a game winner in the 1984 tournament. It was against Alabama, so that's a brand school that your dad took down.
No doubt, yeah. We'd love being the Tide.
All right. 4-time academic all Big Ten. I mentioned finance and human resource management. Why did you go into the business side?
Yeah, my brother went to school here as a student. He was triple major, so he did accounting, finance, and management. So really smart, and I just kind of I either wanted to do something in pre-med or I wanted to do something in business, and learning that it's pretty hard to do pre-med stuff, which makes what Caleb First does really impressive. So I just decided I want to do something different. So once I was in the business school and kind of in the classes, I really loved it, and I decided that that's something that I could foresee in my future if I decided to do something non-basketball wise.
Well, we've done some videos with Sasha. You can go find him on YouTube promoting the Daniel School. We thank you for helping to do that.
Absolutely.
Your playing career outstanding, 980 points. You're 7th all-time in three-point shooting with 226. And then you played professionally for a year overseas. But you didn't stay as long as your dad. You kind of had an idea early on that might not be the path for you.
Yeah, honestly, I could have saw myself playing either 15 years or 1 year. I just kind of really wanted to experience and see how I liked it, how I liked living overseas, how I liked the basketball, just feeling the experience. And while I was over there, I loved everything about living there. I was very fortunate, and I was on an island in Greece, so no complaints there. A little different weather than here today, but no, it was really cool. Like I loved it. My fiance was out there when I went to Serbia for 3 months, so she's Macedonian, so we really got to experience our culture together, where we come from and everything like that. And for myself, I just talked to Coach Payne. I just decided that I got burnt out of playing, right? When you fall out of love with going to practice, working out every day, doing all the little things that make basketball players good, you shouldn't play anymore. Yeah. So I decided I want to do something different, talked to Coach Payne, gave me some great advice, and, now I'm here. Your
story is actually similar. We're going to have Katie Geralds in the next half hour. Now, Katie partly had some injuries that forced her out a little bit early, but she had a decision to make. She had an opportunity to get into coaching, decided to do that. So you come and you start as a grad assistant, right?
No,
you went straight into being an assistant.
Yeah, Coach Payne initially hired me as a GA.
Gotcha.
So when I talked to him, we probably talked about that January of whatever year that was, and he offered me the GA position, and I mulled over for about a month or two, took it, and then when the new court position came available, he offered me that. So luckily for myself, I was able to step into a position on staff right away and not have to go through another 2 years of school or anything like that. So I was very fortunate.
Well, now that we've got the This Is Your Life Sasha Stefanovich portion of the show down, we're actually going to talk about this year's basketball team and your responsibilities with it, but we need to take a break first. This is Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network, and this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Who was a head coach last few years.
That's right, at DePaul University.
Good swing of the basketball. Smith creating space over Angel. Heidi the rebound, the follow, the bucket, and one.
If he gets a free run at the bucket on the weak side, this is going to be the result. Impressive size. Great concentration there. Cam Heidi.
Smith controls it. Oh, nice little pass. He left it for Kaufman-Renn right to the hoop.
That UCLA would be in the upper echelon of the league.
League's starting to sort out. Top 5, 6 teams right now. These are 2 of the best, certainly, and this game could go a long way. Kaufman-Renn gets to the free throw line after the bucket.
He is so strong. And watch the ball adjustment midair. Right there. He's able to get around Kwame Evans. Avoids the shot block.
Struggle from beyond the arc with these 2 guards who can knock down threes. Fletcher Lawyer, good lead for first.
Definitely something that you can get better at, but you got to be pretty comfortable in those scenarios. And Braden is definitely that.
Kaufman-Renn got bumped a couple of times, would not give in. The bucket in the lane for Trey. Barthélemy back in for the Ducks as Tracy goes to the bench with the 3 fouls. Another lead. First trying to finish, gets the roll inside off the dish. Look at that defense, Barthélemy, all over Smith. Followed by Kaufman-Renn. This time not an assist, but off the miss. Trey gets there.
Well, here come the Ducks. First off, Trey Kaufman-Renn, give me some at the rim. And then the floater, and Trey Kaufman-Renn hanging on rim. We got a great one here.
Who was a head coach last few years.
That's right, at DePaul University.
Good swing of the basketball. Smith creating.
GEMCO Constructors is supporting your Boilermakers as the presenting sponsor of Purdue Basketball Live and proud partner of Purdue Athletics. GEMCO Constructors, Boiler Up. Lafayette Limo, family-owned, women-owned, serving Greater Lafayette for over 38 years. Shuttles to and from Indianapolis and O'Hare airports 365 days a year. Make your reservations now at LafayetteLimo.com. Lafayette Limo, proud sponsor of Purdue Athletics. Boilermakers and the Ohio State Buckeyes tomorrow night at 7:30 at Mackey Arena. Another sellout, and we should have a great atmosphere after that road trip, the first of a 3-game homestand. Sasha, your title is Director of Player Personnel. What would you say your job entails, as they said in Office Space? What would you say you do here?
So really what I do is I get to help with the offensive schematics, plays. I get to call all of the out-of-bounds plays during the game, underneath and inside out-of-bounds, and work really closely with P.J. Thompson and just kind of implementing things that we want, and you know, reading the defenses, what they're going to do, whether in their different ball screen coverages, how they're going to guard us in the post, do they zone, do they press, all the little things that go into how we're going to beat them offensively. That's really what I do, you know, in terms of recruiting and everything, helping when kids are on campus with visits and everything like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
You mentioned the out-of-bounds play, and you've become the out-of-bounds guru on this squad. And you know, we talk about it, and people kind of chuckle sometimes, but you get 4 or 6 points a game on out-of-bounds plays. That's the difference in between winning and losing in a lot of Big Ten games.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people have different, you know, what they really want to get out of our out-of-bounds plays, right? I want to score every single time, and it's really cool to see some of our guys and the development that they have in understanding what we're trying to get out of certain plays, right? We're trying to get a layup on this play. We're trying to get a jump shot for somebody on this play. I think we've done a really, really good job in these, especially these last 4 to 5 games, of like taking what we're learning in practice and our breakdowns and everything and getting easy buckets.
When you go into a game, how many out-of-bounds options will you typically have? I mean, I'm sure you've got a whole book full of them, but are geared toward a specific opponent. What's your playbook on a typical night?
Yeah, me and PJ, we kind of do it like how football does, right? We kind of have a script, but we don't follow that script, exactly. But we kind of have a 20 or so plays that we really, really like that we think are going to work. I probably have half of that. I would say probably I have 10-ish plays that I think we're going to get a bucket every time.
When you were a player, did you, I know that one of the things they do over and over and over in the scouting report and they shoot around is they go through out-of-bounds plays. Were you as attentive then as you are now toward that part of the game?
I would like to think I was, but I don't know if that's true. It's one of those things where mature players, I think, really understand what other teams want to get out of plays, right? Like, there's certain teams where I felt as a player that I knew their playbook. Sometimes I didn't. Some teams are much more complex like we are, right? And it's just up to the player whether or not they really want to focus in on our scouting report, what we put in. We put in a lot of time and film and showing them things in practice and everything. We talk so much about what the opponent's going to do offensively and defensively. Luckily enough, we have really high IQ, smart players that pay attention during that stuff.
When I talk to coaches about watching games, usually they say that they can't really watch it as a true spectator. And when you're watching a game, are you looking to see, hey, that's an out-of-bounds player. That's a play I can steal. You got your notebook handy. You got ready to scribble in it.
Absolutely, yeah. I've really started to love watching, like, NBA. And Coach Payne always makes fun of me, but I watch the EuroLeague all the time. And I steal plays all the time from them. It's really cool to see that the differences of play style, right? The NBA is much more spacing. They're really talented players, much more athletic, skilled. EuroLeague is more similar to college basketball, where it's less spacing, more physical, really skilled, but maybe not as athletic players, which is sometimes what we have. So I like to steal a lot of stuff from them, and you really just get concepts, right? So, like, if a team runs some plays out of the similar set that we run, I try to manipulate. Man, that could fit within our system. That could fit with our players and our skill set. So it's really cool, just like watching basketball from a different perspective. Sometimes I just want to watch and be entertained. Sometimes I really want to watch for the X's and O's. Sometimes I want to watch for a specific player. It's cool. It's kind of like pick your own adventure.
But I think you hit on a key point earlier, Sasha. You mentioned that you've got a lot of smart players, and I think that that's what Coach Painter has recruited to, the fact that you can change and these guys can understand and adapt on the fly. You can't run a complex offense if you don't have smart players.
No doubt. I think that's the true testament to show, like, how Coach Painter recruits his whole system, everything that he's built in his program, that we couldn't do the stuff that we're doing offensively if we didn't have smart players, right? We have the whole game plan, whole script, all this stuff, all these plays. We have hundreds of plays. You can't do that without smart players. So it's really cool to see these guys take in the information that we give them and then execute on the floor.
10 seconds left in a tie game. Is it harder having the sneakers playing on the floor or having the shoes and standing on the sidelines?
It's a good question. I would say it's harder being off the floor right now. You
have no control. You have some control, but not a whole lot of control.
No doubt. Yeah, Coach Payne has been great, and he's trusted me to kind of call some plays in some critical time. But those are high-pressure moments, right? You don't want to mess up as a player and as a coach. So it's kind of nerve-wracking when you're the one not taking the shot, but luckily like I said, we have super talented players that I trust to get it done.
All right, we got a couple of opponents coming up. We'll talk about those with Sasha when we come back. It's Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network, and this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
State College. We're indoors at the Bryce Jordan Center. Very deliberate. And the freshman with a nice basket there. This is Dean, his first look from way outside. And with the left hand, missed it. Dean, the putback. Good look for the freshman team. Man, can that kid shoot. And off the bench, Busher puts it up and in. Willie Dean penetrates. Tough shot, but he got the bounce. Ahead to Booker. And another emotional leader as well as physically getting out of it. And a foul, and it counts. Impossible to make a play from back there and not draw a foul. 5-point Purdue lead. Teague off the screen, hits a big jumper. And Booker over Fellows. By Riley. Dean got the triple from the corner. He too is a freshman. Down low and a jam. This is a jump shot. He gets a nice pass from Cameron. Booker, who's had a huge first half. Oh, what a move inside by Kenneth Lowe. Lowe, great pass to Cartello. What are you supposed to do? Just couldn't get there. Look for Busher.
late today has been fade away. Kilgore got the roll. Bean still on the Purdue bench. Booker. Double team. Put it up and in and fouled against Johnson. It rattles in. Big hoop for the big man out of Crow. Penetrating. Ties the game at 6. There's the lob to Booker. Fouled as well. Summers low with another huge jumper. It's a 2-point. Purdue back on top with 2:42 to play. Booker with the hoop and foul. It's the pull-up 3. No. Rebound Johnson. Get it. And that's the way it is. The Purdue Boilermakers stay unbeaten. 3-0 in the Big Ten. To frigid State College. We're indoors at the Bryce Jordan Center. It's very deliberate. And the freshman
with a nice basket there.
This is Dean, his first.
Welcome back to Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO. We're live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where there's validated parking and kids eat for free on Tuesdays. Purdue Basketball brought to you in part by Purdue Federal Credit Union, the official credit union for Purdue fans. And Purdue Athletics would like to thank and recognize members of the Black and Gold Club who support Purdue Athletics with their sponsorship at the highest level. Black and Gold Club members include Indiana Packers, Molson Coors, Purdue Federal Credit Union, Purdue Global, Riley Children's Health, State Farm Insurance, Toyota, and Wabash. Each are great partners of Purdue Athletics. Joined by Sasha Stefanovich. We should mention, by the way, Trey Kaufman-Wren averaged 21 points and 8.5 rebounds last week, and for his efforts, he was named the Big Ten Player of the Week, and he was also named the Naismith Men's College Player of the Week nationally. So congratulations to Trey Kaufman-Wren. You know, I think it's another testament to what Coach Painter's built here. A lot of situations, a guy like Trey Kaufman-Wren would have bolted after a season or two. He stood, he waited his turn, and now he's in the spotlight.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot in his postseason interviews with coach and our staff, that like he sacrificed probably the most on our team last year, right? Like he's an unbelievable player, but he had to sit behind the National Player of the Year. So it's really cool to see his development. He was a redshirt freshman, or he was redshirting his freshman year when I was a senior. So just to see his development and where he is now, his body, how much he's improved in his skill set, just his personality and his growth and everything. It's really, really cool to see.
Well, let's talk about the Ohio State Buckeyes. They're coming off a heartbreaking loss at home. They lost in overtime to Indiana, a shot that rimmed out at the buzzer that would have won the game. We were talking before, all you can do is get your guys in a position to win, and they had an open shot with about half a second left and didn't get it to go. What problems do they present for you tomorrow night?
Super, super, super talented team. They have a lot of individual great talent. It just hasn't clicked for them yet, right? A lot of transfers and a lot of different guys from different places that are learning their new system and getting used to each other and everything like that. But really, really talented team. They do a lot of great things defensively. They blow up a lot of actions. They're very physical. They double the post really well. They're really good in ball screen defense. Offensively, they have a lot of individual talent that could go make plays. Good freshman guards, good mix of everything, right? They have a lot of older players, good athleticism in their bigs. They're just a talented team. So for us, really, just our preparation has to be super important. And just take the fight to them tomorrow.
They're one of those teams you kind of feel like they're a time bomb team, because at some point they're going to go off and have a great game against a really good basketball team, and we hope that's not tomorrow night against the Boilermakers.
No doubt. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean they beat Kentucky on a neutral floor. They're a super talented team. They could beat anybody on any night. So for us, we can't just rely on Mackey Arena to give us energy. We kind of have to go out there and hit first.
Then Michigan comes to Mackey on Friday night. Michigan's having, I think, a better season than a lot of people expected.
Absolutely, yeah. Coach Dusty May is I think, one of the best coaches in the country. He recruited me when he was at assistant coach at Florida. So it's really cool to see his kind of growth as a coach to where he is now. But, again, a lot of individual talent, right? Vlad Golden is just super physically dominant, great player in the post. Danny Wolf is just super skilled for how big he is. Their guards are playing really well, right? They shoot the ball really well. They defend. They do a lot of different things defensively. And for us, we haven't had a day off in a couple weeks now. So we're kind of at that stretch of our tough, road trip and everything like that, and a lot of games. So for us, just really just coming out and they're just trying to fire on all cylinders and hit first.
You were a player that really enjoyed the crowd at Mackey Arena, and you showed that sometimes.
Yeah.
now that you're a coach and you're on the sideline and you're in the game, but you're not in the game, can you enjoy it more, the atmosphere, more than you did as a player?
Yeah, I don't know. It's different, right? Like, Mackey gives you so much energy as a player. I think it's like the days that you're like, man, my body is – I'm not at 100%.
Yeah.
I feel awful today. It's like Mackey kind of gives you the rest of that 100%. So, I don't know. It's a little different. You know, sometimes I need it now as a coach to kind of like chill out a little bit. I need to lower the adrenaline a little bit so I can know what to call and everything like that. But, you know, Mackey's such a special place. Like I said, growing up, like I wanted to play here. I wanted to be that guy on the floor making shots in front of that crowd. So, you know, luckily for me, my dream came true where I was able to feel that energy, feel the environment, feel the crowd, feel all the love from the fans. And it was, you know, it's very special.
Well, I asked you at the beginning why you chose Purdue. It sounds like you have fulfilled everything that you wanted at this point. You were able to play here for 4 years. You've been able to coach here. You got 2 degrees while you were here, and now you're part of a coaching staff of a top 15 national team. It doesn't get a whole lot better than that, does it?
No doubt, yeah. It's if you could ask me what I wanted out in my basketball career, it's this, right? Like I said, like I've done everything I wanted to do in basketball. It's really cool that I have an opportunity to play here, coach here, be a student here, just be part of the alumni. I think everything that this university embodies in the toughness, the work ethic, you know, the blue collar, I think that's my family. I think that's this program. I think that's what I value. So it's really cool for myself to be a part of it.
Let me go back full circle then and put you on the spot a little bit. You're coaching right now. You've got a couple of degrees. Where does it go from here? Where is Sasha 5-10 years from now? Any ideas?
Great question. I have no clue. I didn't even.
I'm sure your parents want, you know, the parents always want to know what the future's like.
For sure. I mean, like, I didn't even envision myself in coaching. Like, I didn't really. I was kind of pushed back against the coaching, you know, route just because I know how hard it is. It's a grind. You have to get lucky. You have to be in the right situation. And I kind of found myself in this situation through Coach Payne, obviously. And I don't know. I found out that I really loved coaching. I love being a part of basketball, whatever it is. I've always wanted to do something in like the front office realm where I love, like I said, I love business. I love basketball. So maybe merging, those two. But I don't know. To be honest, I'm just kind of experiencing all these opportunities as they come and go from there.
Last question for you. You didn't get a chance to play with Braden Smith, but you've had a chance to be around him. What does a guy like that as the point guard spot mean to his fellow teammates, and especially a guy in the backcourt who needs to be set up and get in that great position to score?
Yeah, I mean, he's an unbelievable player, tremendous player. Like, it's really, really cool to see him and how he plays on the floor, how he controls everything. We run, shoot our whole offense through him, right? We do so many plays for him. The ball's in his hands all the time. And 9 times out of 10, he's going to make the right decision. And me being a fan his freshman year, right? I wasn't on staff. Right. I was playing overseas, just watching the games, seeing him as a freshman to where he is now, and his decision-making, his defensive, ability, his effort, I would say, like he's trying so much harder because he knows that that's what's going to get him to the next level, right? If you want to be in the NBA as a smaller guard, you have to defend an elite level and you have to play make and you have to be efficient, and he's doing all of those things now, and he's put himself in a category of an All-American type player, and I don't know if anybody would have said that when he was in high school, right? So it's really cool to see him and his development as a leader. He's working on that and just trying to become, kind of the guy that we rely on all the time.
All right, one bonus question. Ohio State or Notre Dame tonight? Who wins?
I've never grown up as a non-Notre Dame fan.
Understood.
But
you're going to get clapped either way. I can tell you, whoever you pick, you're going to get clapped tonight.
I guess we'll root for the Big Ten.
All right, there you go. All right, thanks, Sasha.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Katie Geralds will join us next. This is Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network, and this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Double team against Bass. Lombard gets it off, and it's in.
In the lavender suit.
Ball is stolen, and Coppinger is on the move. It's poked away. And Purdue comes back the other way with Poole.
Okay, sounds great.
As that three-pointer from Ledeen is off the mark. It's Lombard rattling it home.
Kelsey, we knew this was going to happen. The day that your career ended on the bus, I remember listening to you and GEMCO and talk about getting your jersey retired. But
honestly, I just think I love to play basketball. I love to compete at the highest level, and take a lot of pride in my preparation.
And his legacy and how people know he got up at 3 a.m. every day to go to work, that type of thing. Well, Kelsey Plum's work ethic is right there squarely in that category, and those little details, those fundamentals. I love that, all the different names and faces, including yours. We got to hear a lot of your voice during this ceremony. We could see how much you and a lot of the other alumni have meant to Kelsey Plum over the years. Got to see Isaiah Thomas up there from the men's side, another great.
It chose to stay in the area, and then Kelsey Plum, both workers. It was a couple of years ago, Caitlin Clark's junior year. They played at Climate Pledge Arena against Louisville, and from the state of Washington, Haley Van Lith, when she was with the Cardinals. Storm, along with 2 other women, and they saved professional basketball here in Seattle. Katie Geralds, their number 7 overall draft pick. Well, and I think for the Washington Huskies, their offense has been decisive. And Collier able to get to the bucket for that. Boy, she plays so big and has a gigantic heart and love for the game.
That's a nice shot.
We are live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where there's validated parking and kids eat for free on Tuesdays. We're going to have Katie Geralds next on Purdue Basketball Live, but first we need to pause for station identification. This is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield. It's time for the Pro Boilers feature, where we look at how former Purdue student athletes are doing in their professional sports careers. Pro Boilers is presented by Indiana Kitchen Premium Pork Products. Get to know us at indianakitchen.com. Zach Edey with the Memphis Grizzlies, averaging 9.5 points, 7.3 rebounds, shooting 39% from three-point range and 58% from the field. Had to leave the game the other night because of a bloody nose. He was put into concussion protocol, I believe, again. He's already had 1 concussion this year, and hopefully he'll be back in the lineup soon. On the women's side, Abby Ellis is playing for the Townsville Fire of the Women's National Basketball League. That is in Australia. Her team is 10-5, and Abby is averaging just over 10 points a game, shooting 39% from distance and 85% from the foul line. So congratulations to both Zach and Abby, and we hope they continue to have outstanding seasons. Joined by Katie Geralds, who tried to put a Kansas City Chiefs hat on me. Well, we're going to have some sort of a wager here before the day is over, and I think most people know that Katie's a lifelong Kansas City Chiefs fan. I grew up in Buffalo. We're going to war on Sunday.
Yeah, another one.
Another one. It seems like every season we wind up in the playoffs, and this time maybe the good guys are going to win. We're going to see.
You know, I'll be honest with you, Tim. I was rooting for Baltimore last night. I'm not so sure I want to see Josh Allen this year.
It's going to be an interesting game, and George Karlaftis already has his Super Bowl rings. I just want one. Just give me one. Just one.
I would love George's playoff record to stay undefeated.
I understand. All right, we'll get back to football. Actually, while we're on it, Ohio State or Notre Dame tonight? Who wins?
It's a really tough call for me. Can they tie?
They cannot. Not anymore.
Ohio State. Go Big Ten.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Ohio State. Although I'm not a Notre Dame fan. I'm like Sasha. I grew up not. I'm not a Notre Dame fan, but I'm a big Marcus Freeman fan. I got to know Marcus when he was an assistant coach here. Great guy. Really happy to see him have success. I just wish it was somewhere else.
I was one of those, one of those guys that growing up, my Notre Dame jacket was on in the fall, and I flipped to IU in the winter.
The reversibles.
The reversibles that all those fans wear these days. But I am black and gold through and through now, and no way. I love Marcus and his connection to Purdue, but gotta go Big Ten tonight.
I understand. All right, let's talk a little basketball. But it's been a tough stretch, and we can go through some numbers here, and it is amazing. You've played 8 teams this year that are ranked. You still have 3 more that are ranked. This will be the 5th game on Wednesday night coming up that you have against a top 10 team. It's just really hard to build right now when you just hit these mountains day after day after day in your schedule.
Yeah, it's been a stretch. I think the one thing that people don't notice, people don't know if you're not inside our program every day, is we got a group that continues to work hard, right? Like to be getting beat the way we are, to have the schedule that we've had. We've got a group of 13 young women that haven't separated, that still believe. Yep. We talk about holding the rope every single day, and every single one of them have a tight grip on that rope. And, we talk about maybe one day, the stars kind of aligning with our schedule and we catch a break. In the meantime, we've got to continue to work on getting better. And, right now it hasn't translated to anything in terms of the win column. And, we've had some really deep conversations. They've had some deep conversations. We got to get off to better starts. We got to keep. We're never going to be a team that can catch up. Right?
Yeah, right.
We don't have enough offensive power, but we get ourselves in these holes in the first quarter. And for me as the head coach, I've got to do a better job of getting us ready out of the gate. And so. We tried changing lineups. We're going to change our game warm up a little bit, try to fire them up a little bit better. But ultimately, just go out there and play, because we always tend to settle in.
Right.
Right. We always tend to settle in when the pressure is not there on us. So, how do we get that at the start of the game? And ultimately, that's my job to make sure we're doing that. But I do love how connected our group is and how they have not stopped believing.
I'm glad Amy Anthrop is here, your director of operations, because we had a tough road trip, not just from a game standpoint, but on 35 years of travel, I've never sat on an airplane for 4 hours and then had to get off of it.
No,
so that started the trip.
No, yeah, Monday night, right? Obviously, we're on the plane for 4 hours. They kept telling us, we're gonna fix it.
Any minute now.
We're gonna fix it. We're gonna fix it, and then finally make the call. We get off the plane. We had the extra day. The guys didn't. They played Sunday, so we thought to get out there Monday, try to adjust the time. So that kind of flew, through everything. We get up the next morning, snow.
Right.
Right. Our plane doesn't take off at the time it's supposed to take off. So we get to Oregon, and everything is pushed back. Our practice times are pushed back. We can talk about the Oregon game here in a minute, but we just talk about travel. So we play the game. Thursday we're waiting for the men's plane to fly from Seattle so we could fly back to Seattle from Eugene, foggy Eugene.
Right.
Film is on the 12th floor. You can't see anything.
Yeah.
You just can't see anything. So planes can't land. Finally, the plane was canceled. Fog was still in the forecast. So talking to Amy, we busted, right? 5 hours on a bus. We want to make sure we get there. We never knew what time the men's team, their plane was going to get to Eugene. And so we busted. Got up. I thought we had a really good practice in Seattle. But, just a nightmare of a trip in terms of logistics. Not one thing went as we had planned.
But we got there safely, and we got home safely. So that's the big thing.
That is you're right.
Number one.
You're right.
And then the other stuff is all details. Well,
You're
we're going
right.
to actually talk basketball games here when we come back. This is Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network. And this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Finish off the backboard. Oregon still without a shot made in this one. On the other end, it's Jones against Che, and Jones is able to finish against the 6'8" Filipina Che. Purdue's already turned the ball over 4 times in over 4 minutes of play. As a three-pointer there is good from Swanson. Down low, it's McCarthy against Che. Able to get it back out to Jones. Now a three-pointer from Layden. Top of the key hits. Falatea has it for the Ducks. Oregon 7-22 on the field as Mevius loses her footing there. Kelly trips, still has it, goes up with it, can't finish. Trying to cross midcourt, and Falatea is down on the ground right now. Play continues, and now a whistle gets blown, and not a good sign if you're an Oregon fan. Creates a tough matchup. McCarthy. Underneath the basket, trying to go up, and she finishes. A good shot there from McCarthy. Take a look at the last bucket for Purdue.
You see McCarthy just up and under. Transfer coming in over from Siena College. More known as a defensive player, but offensively as well, she's really improved. McCarthy finally back-to-back points.
5 seconds on the shot clock. Wants a screen from McCarthy. She'll take it. Now a mismatch against Che, but Jones speeds her way through Che and finishes for the lay-ins with the referees.
And here's that 6-0 run that I mentioned before, that not what the referee thinks.
Purdue keeps it. It's Jones with it. Out to Layden. Left wing three. Knocks it down. We've seen that a couple times tonight. Oregon players getting the fans into this. As on the other end, it's Swanson. And Swanson answers with a layup.
That's it right there.
Now a fine inside to a cutting Lombard. And a good.
Welcome back to Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO. We're live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where there's validated parking and kids eat for free on Tuesdays. The 2024-25 Purdue basketball season is presented by Purdue Global. Earn a degree you'll be proud of with Purdue Global, Purdue's online university for working adults and the preferred online university degree provider of the Guild and Team USA Learning Network. Start your comeback today at purdueglobal.edu. The Boilermakers against the Southern California Trojans. That'll be Wednesday night at 7. Juju Watkins and company. We'll talk about them in the next segment. Well, let's talk about the trip out to the West Coast. And you started with an Oregon team that has been okay this year. The first unranked team you've played in, it seems like forever. But the turnovers, 17 turnovers in the first half, and you talked about the hole. You really didn't have an opportunity to get enough shots to win the game.
Yeah, and we did it to ourselves, so we couldn't dribble the ball. They didn't do anything differently. Sorry.
That's all right. We got a little gnat here.
They didn't do anything that we weren't prepared for, or didn't feel like we weren't prepared for. Just a lot of playing really fast, poor decisions. And we had a 9-4 lead and had 8 or 9 turnovers already, and that was kind of our opportunity for the game. We were locked in defensively on what we want to do. Probably one of our best defensive plans from start to finish in terms of execution, and then we made a little run there in the third quarter, just put ourselves in that hole, and with the turnovers, I think we had 5 in the second half.
6 in the second half, 17 the first, 6 in the second.
6 in the second half, so we did a much better job of slowing down, but Deja Kelly kind of got it going.
Yeah.
Peyton Scott hit some tough jumpers. Some fifth years that have scored over 2,000 points really put their team on their shoulder.
You got a start out of McKenna Layden, her first start as a collegian, and I thought McKenna in both games played really well. 9 points and 9 rebounds that first game, and really competing for you out there on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, she's definitely taken advantage of her opportunity. She's rebounded it really well for us. 9 defensive rebounds that game. And spaces the floor, understands what we want to do, a great communicator on the floor to everybody out there. She's someone who had, kind of been injured and playing through some pain, but I think she's, we're all learning how to kind of manage that for her. But she has just been an extreme competitor for us and really a bright spot.
We go back to the turnovers for just a second. There are different flavors of turnovers. We talk about it in football. Pre-snap penalties you can't have. I mean, if it's a holding penalty, if it's something where you're trying to protect a fellow teammate.
Put you behind the numbers, right?
But it's the pre-snap. And in basketball, you throw the ball to the cheerleader out of bounds, it's okay because you can get back on defense.
No doubt.
What is killing, not just you, but I think a lot of teams right now is you throw a cross-court pass and it winds up in your basket, and that's a killer.
Yeah, just live ball turnovers, right?
Yeah.
We lose the game by 16 points. We're down 12 at half. I think we had 11 points just off of our live ball turnovers, something like that. So, we talk about it with our group. If we can stop those, you never know what's going to happen the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game when it's within reach. Much better job in the second half. But the story for us is right now is getting out of the gate in the first quarter, and we have not done that. And ultimately, I've got to figure out a way to make sure we're doing a better job out of the gate.
That also continued on Saturday. A great atmosphere there. Kelsey Plum's jersey was being retired. They had more than 10,000 folks, and you could tell their team was jazzed up, and they got you 7-0 right off the bat. And at one point, I think it was 20-4 in the first quarter.
It was a tough start for us. That seems to be the theme. But I think they averaged 1,300 fans a game.
Yeah.
And they came out, blazing. Really and honestly shot the ball well all game. And even I obviously, we missed some defensive rotations, missed some layups early, turned the basketball over. They get out in transition. They scored 10 transition points in the first quarter. Didn't score another one the whole game. And we talk about if we can control that, right? If we don't give up 10 transition points in the first quarter, we're not in the hole we're in. Right? Because the second, the third, the fourth quarter, you don't want to live with losing, but those are more acceptable than the first quarter, right? We fix the transition buckets in the second, third, fourth quarter, but the start of the game we're playing uphill the whole time, and you and I have talked about it so much. We just don't have the firepower to put ourselves in that position.
Yeah. I can tell you, too, from 35 years of doing this, we added 4 teams this year in the Big Ten that are really good. And
yeah, not bad.
They're really good. And, you go back when I started doing this back in the early 90s, when Purdue won its first Big Ten championship, you had 10 teams, actually, in the Big Ten. And I'll tell you, there were 3 or 4 teams, and unless your bus broke down on the way there, you were going to beat them because they weren't very good.
Right.
There were probably 2 or 3 teams that were okay. And then there were 3 or 4 teams, maybe 2, 3, 4 teams that were going to compete for the conference championship. This is a whole different ball game. And you go out to Washington and you see a kid like Savia Sellers, who doesn't get a whole lot of attention.
Man,
she can really play basketball.
No, she's legit. She controls everything for that ball club. But not only that, like, there are other kids. They just made shots. They did their job and they made shots. But Sellers is like the engine for that ball club.
Yeah, there are no. And what I'm trying to say, there are no breathers anymore. And we talked about the schedule, the fact that all these top 25 teams, but even the middle of the pack teams in the Big Ten are much, much better than the middle of the pack Big Ten teams 10, 20, 30 years ago. There's no comparison.
Yeah, no doubt. There's never a night off, and we've got to figure out a way to kind of turn the corner in our favor.
Another player that we are seeing more and more of because she's coming off an injury, Jordan Poole, is trying to get back up to speed. And Jordan's a player that can give you something different in the half court because we've talked about it before. She has the ability to break defenses down.
Yeah, really, I would say KP has the ability to create her own shot inside, but Jordy, from the perimeter standpoint, is probably one of our only players that can kind of make her own shot or make a play for somebody else. Had a little bit of an ankle at Oregon, so didn't see the floor, but was able to kind of recover and take some time and really gave us some good minutes. And honestly, I think I was talking to Ian today. I think we're the only Big Ten team in the country that plays 6 freshmen and sophomore. 15
plus minutes. You and Arizona are the only power conference teams that do that.
Yeah, and Arizona has played the 64th toughest schedule in the country, and we're at number 2
right now. Yeah.
So, our young guns are taking a beating, but they're still committed to working really hard and doing everything they can for us.
All right, we're coming to you from Walk-Ons. One more segment with the coach after this. It's Purdue Basketball Live, presented by GEMCO on the Purdue Global Sports Network. This is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Double team against Bass. Lombard gets it off, and it's in.
In the lavender suit.
Ball is stolen, and Coppinger is on the move. It's poked away. And Purdue comes back the other way with Poole.
Okay, sounds great.
As that three-pointer from Ladine is off the mark. It's Lombard rattling it home.
Kelsey, we knew this was going to happen. The day that your career ended on the bus, I remember listening to you and Jen Cohen talk about getting your jersey retired. But
honestly, I just think I love to play basketball. I love to compete at the highest level, and take a lot of pride in my preparation.
And his legacy and how people know he got up at 3 a.m. every day to go to work, that type of thing. Well, Kelsey Plum's work ethic is right there squarely in that category, in those little details, those fundamentals. I love that, all the different names and faces, including yours. We got to hear a lot of your voice during this ceremony. We could see how much you and a lot of the other alumni have meant to Kelsey Plum over the years. Got to see Isaiah Thomas up there from the men's side, another great.
It chose to stay in the area, and then Kelsey Plum, both workers. It was a couple of years ago, Caitlin Clark's junior year. They played at Climate Pledge Arena against Louisville, and from the state of Washington, Haley Van Lith, when she was with the Cardinals. Storm, along with 2 other women, and they saved professional basketball here in Seattle. Katie Geralds, their number 7 overall draft pick. Well, and I think for the Washington Huskies, their offense has been decisive. And Collier able to get to the bucket for that. Boy, she plays so big and has a gigantic heart and love for the game.
That's a nice shot by McKenna Layden.
GEMCO Constructors is supporting your Boilermakers as the presenting sponsor of Purdue Basketball Live and proud partner of Purdue Athletics. GEMCO Constructors, boiler up. We're just looking. Maryland is down big against Texas. They found out Bree McDaniel out for the season with an injury. That's unfortunate. One of the better players in the Big Ten, and she was a big factor in the comeback win that Maryland had at Mackey Arena earlier this season. All right, Juju Watkins coming in, a front runner for the National Player of the Year, but she's got a lot of talent around her. Start with Juju. What does she do so well that makes her so hard to contain?
Everything. She's 6'1", maybe pushes 6'2". She can shoot it from the perimeter, loves to get to the mid-range, great in a ball screen, elite in a ball screen. Elite in every facet, right? And surrounded by elite level talent. They had a tough one. I think they had a tough travel day to get into Indiana. And an early start for them on Saturday, right. But found a way to grind through it. And Juju is Juju, just a really, really special player.
And again, we talk about the talent. They got a lot of talent around. The only game that they lost, Kennedy Smith didn't play in that game against Notre Dame, so she's outstanding. Ira Fenn is an outstanding player, a transfer coming in from Stanford. As a team, I mean, I still think UCLA is the best team in the league. But this team, if they're not the best, they're pretty close to the best.
Yeah, I think after Wednesday we'll have played 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'll give anybody a read on who I think is the best team.
Well,
but
not just you and Lot have just played 1, 2, 3, 4 in the Big Ten, right?
Yeah,
nationally.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like Notre Dame and South Carolina in that mix.
Yes.
Just elite. The elite on the defensive end, their length causes a lot of problems. They switch 1 through 4. Really, really long inside, block a lot of shots. Just defensively elite, and then that allows Juju to get out and transition, or their other guards to get out and transition. Kennedy Smith gets out, and plays at a high level. I think Indiana did a good job. They didn't turn the ball over very much, and I feel like USC still had like 17 fast break points or something like that. And Indiana didn't. They did a good job of playing possession and taking care of the basketball. But USC is just an elite ball club. I think there's about 5 teams in the country that right now that are just on another level.
We won't have a show. We will have a show next week, by the way. There is a Purdue Basketball Live next Monday. At that time, though, that the show is on, we'll be getting ready to take on Illinois. The first of 3 games next week. You play at Illinois Monday, home against Nebraska on Thursday, and then home against Wisconsin on Sunday. The Illini, you've had their numbers the last few years, but I know that they've probably got this one circled because they'd like to get Purdue one of these seasons.
No doubt. They, a team that lost has a couple out, a couple players out. Unfortunately, Makaira Cook and, I can't think of her
Gretchen
name.
Dolan.
Yeah, thank you. Dolan is out for the year, but since Cook went out, they found a way to. They went down to Bloomington. They beat IU. I think they lost yesterday against Michigan State.
Yes.
I think Michigan State kind of turned it on down the stretch, but a team that's kind of found their own identity and playing some really good basketball.
Well, I know that a lot of fans are back in your corner, Katie. They want this team to get started, and it's going to be a tough task on Wednesday night, but let's get a big crowd. First of all, you get a chance to see one of the best players in college basketball and one of the better teams, and we'll see how we stack up. And you talked about the fact you got a lot of young players playing. Games like these can only help them going forward as they find out what they need to do to be an elite basketball team.
No, we talk about it all the time. There's no replacement for live game reps, and we got a group committed to trying to figure this out, and we'll find a way to play as hard as we can.
All right, we'll see you Wednesday night. I've only got one more thing to say. Go Bills.
Cheers.
All right, I knew you'd get one in. Final segment of Purdue Basketball Live presented by GEMCO is coming up on the Purdue Global Sports Network. This is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Frigid State College. We're indoors at the Bryce Jordan Center. It's very deliberate. And the freshman
with a nice basket there.
This is Dean, his first look from way outside. And with the left hand, missed it. Dean, the putback. Good look for the freshman team. Man, can that kid shoot. And off the bench, Busher puts it up and in. Willie Dean penetrates. Tough shot, but he got the bounce. Ahead to Booker. And another
emotional leader as well as physically getting out of it.
And a foul, and it counts.
Impossible to make a play from back there and not draw a foul.
5-point Purdue lead. Teague off the screen, hits a big jumper. And Booker over Fellows.
By Riley.
Dean gets the triple from the corner. He too is a freshman. Down low and a jam.
This is a jump shot to get the nice pass from Cameron.
Booker, who's had a huge first half. Oh, what a move inside by Kenneth Lowe. Lowe, great pass to Cartello.
What are you supposed to do? Just couldn't get there quick.
Look for Busher. Purdue's bench play today has been fadeaway Kilgore. Got the roll. Dean still on the Purdue bench. Booker. Double team. Put it up and in and foul against Johnson. It rattles in. Big hoop for the big man out of Crow. Penetrating. Ties the game at 6. There's the lob to Booker. Fouled as well. Summers low with another huge jumper. It's a 2-point. Purdue back on top with 2:42 to play. Booker with the hoop and foul. It's the pull-up 3. No. Rebound. Johnson. Get it. And that's the way it is. The Purdue Boilermakers stay unbeaten. 3-0 in the Big Ten. To frigid State College. We're indoors at the Bryce Jordan Center. It's very deliberate. And the freshman
with a nice basket there.
This is deep.
Coming to you live from Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where there's validated parking and kids eat for free on Tuesdays. Again, we'll be back next Monday night with Purdue Basketball Live. Rob Blackman will be here with the coach. Matt Painter will be here at 6:30 next Monday night. Want to thank our engineer, Wes Scott, our producer, Hunter Stunkel, and video by McCarty Cummings. Again, what's happening this week? A lot of home games at Mackey Arena starting on tomorrow night. The Ohio State Buckeyes will come in to take on the men's basketball team. That one will be a 7:30 tip, so Rob Blackman and Bobby Riddell will have the call starting at 6:30, and then the 3-game homestand will continue on Friday night when the Michigan Wolverines come to town. That game will tip off at 8 o'clock, and so the pregame show will be at 7. On Wednesday night, the women's basketball team will take on the USC Trojans, ranked 4th in the country. That's a 7 o'clock tip. And then the Boilermakers will be 3 games next week at Illinois, Thursday at home against Nebraska, and Sunday against Wisconsin. We want to thank Sasha Stefanovich and Katie Geralds for being with us tonight. Again, join us next Monday at 6:30 for Purdue Basketball Live. This has been Purdue Basketball Live on the Purdue Global Sports Network, and this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.